Look, artificial intelligence. No, this is not another hype piece about how great AI is. But I must admit that for better or worse, I've been using AI more and for more use cases. I'm relatively new to AI and I'm not a tech guy. I've little interest in tech as such, but I'm very interested in it when it serves me well. There will be a bit of banter before I get to the point of how I use AI for fasting stats. If you are like me, I encourage you to run this podcast through AI first before listening to it. If you find it both informative and entertaining, keep listening to it. At least that's what I would do. I'll recount my experience with AI here and how by now it has replaced several apps I used for tracking fasting stats. I'm someone whose early tech exposure was something like a Walkman cassette player, and I really enjoyed when a portable CD player with a buffering feature came out. That may mean nothing now, but then that buffering feature meant that your portable player didn't skip the track every time you hit a bump while riding your bicycle and listening to music. Big deal then, and a problem nobody has today. Now back to AI. My first real use case for AI was just about 6 months ago, which isn't very long, really. I had about 20 books I would like to read, all books in electronic format. It would probably take on average about a week to read each of those books. We're talking here 20 weeks of reading. Those are books which, as I said, I would like to read, not something I had to read, none of them fiction. A big difference. I was hesitant to start reading any of them, for reasons I well understand. Most of the books give you nothing new. By far, most of the time, it is an old concept delivered through a slightly different approach. It has been probably 2 decades already since I've been hesitant to read any non-fiction book. Almost all the time, it is a disappointment. You spend your precious time, you learn nothing new, and energy is wasted. So, that is the background why those books were there, set aside without reading but not really discarded as not worth reading at all. Maybe there is something still to be learned from that material, but my rational approach was that it is not worth spending 20 weeks trying to find out. The probability was just too low. Then I got an idea from Kevin Rose's podcast. Yes, it was a kind of dialogue generated by Notebook LM. That's a Google service. No, I haven't really used Google Search for years already, but what was demonstrated there was impressive. That was in October 2024. A day or two later, I tried that Notebook LM service. That was a quantum leap. I quote unquote read those 20 or so books in one afternoon. More exactly, I read the gist of those books. Some of the concepts from those books I read closer by using prompts to extract the parts which were of interest. And I read only a couple of chapters in the actual books. Those 2 chapters out of 20 books were the only value-added reading for me. If previously I would have had to spend 20 weeks to find out this objective truth and encounter a lot of boredom and struggle in the process, then now it took maybe 3 or 4 hours to achieve the same result compared to 20 weeks. I was hooked. I knew that I'll never again read a non-fiction book cover to cover. Fiction is different. I read fiction for entertainment, and at least for now, I don't need AI for that. Are you still listening to this podcast? Not using AI to get to the point about AI application to fasting? Good. I hope you get entertainment value from this. If not, you should have used AI to get the gist of it. Next step for AI use was getting summaries of YouTube videos. There's potentially a lot of those worth watching, but the sheer amount of those videos increases in geometrical progression, while the value of content is dropping off the cliff. A typical scenario of user experience with a YouTube video. Someone who seems like a big star in health and fitness has put out a video with an intriguing title and a promise of disclosing some revolutionary discovery. It is an interview with a scientist about the subject. Look, and it is indeed an important discovery, with practical application, and it is valuable knowledge. But now, this could be delivered in 1 minute, and yes, it would have been a great value to get awareness about the solution. But it is not delivered in 1 minute. The video is 1.5 hours long. Polished, very competent scientist. The supposed guru is well versed as well. Good. But then what's in it for me? That 1 minute. The rest of the time is 0.000, pure waste. Those guys are talking for 1.5 hours. They're not delivering a message to you. They are building their personal brand and promoting their business, not like a direct ad. Ads are so yesterday. But by having your attention, by exploiting your curiosity or need to learn what the solution is, while posing as if they do it for you. Before I would grudgingly watch the whole episode to get to that 1 minute which is really of interest to me. Not anymore. Now I do with videos the same as with books. I use AI to get the gist of it. Like with this video example. Yes, I got that 1 minute of important information and it took me 1 minute to read in summary form what it was. No, I will not watch any long form video anymore, except when it's for entertainment purposes. Now, books, check. Videos, check. Let's move to podcasts. I've been a big fan of podcasts over the last 2 decades. I go for long walks, often for hours, and every time I go for a walk, I listen to podcasts. And like with videos, the podcast scene has exploded in recent years. A lot of them. Technical quality has increased dramatically. Content value has fallen off a cliff. That's my impression. Since I had a lot of time out walking, I didn't see the increasing boredom from podcasts as a problem. Yes, it was somewhat uncomfortable to notice recently that the outstanding playlist was like 15, 20, maybe more hours long. And my attitude toward it was that I more and more was thinking about it in terms of it being a lot of predominantly boring content. But I still preferred to have it as background content than nothing at all. Until yesterday. Yesterday, I was migrating back to Apple Podcasts as my default podcasts app. That involved a manual process of updating podcast subscriptions. During that process, I not only unsubscribed from podcasts I do not listen to, but also created my current playlist. When I finished this spring cleaning of my podcast stuff, there was about 30 hours in the podcast playlist. Honestly, even for me, that was way too much. It was listening material for probably 2 weeks worth of walking. And yes, the expectation is that by far most of it is really boring stuff with nothing new to learn. A lot of it recorded by someone as promotion of their personal brand. That's the reality nowadays. But then I had to adapt. I didn't want to commit to 30 hours of boredom. I looked for ways to run the list through AI. I even considered upgrading my iPhone to get this work done. But then I found an easier way. Basically, I ran the podcasts through the same Notebook LM. The process involved downloading the podcasts, uploading them to Notebook LM, and reading summaries of those. It took me probably an hour to do so. I ended up with 3 podcast episodes which I really would like to listen to. About 3 hours of perfectly selected, informative, and enticing content at the same time. I'll never again listen to podcasts as before. Game changer. Going forward, I'll use AI to filter out 90% of content to leave only what is the best fit for me. Okay, now let's finally get to the fasting part. I've been fasting for years. Now, technically, you don't need any app or anything to track your fasting process. But in reality, I do use apps to track parameters, including fasting time, both elapsed and remaining, change of body composition, and sleep quality. Particularly, I used an app named Zero for tracking fast times and frequency, and I used standard smart scales to monitor body composition changes, until a few days ago. And this brings me to what happened a few days ago. It started with an unrelated event, whereas my mobile phone was stolen. Now, losing my phone, it's annoying, sure, but that fact is not a huge emotional drama for me. It unfortunately happens once every 2 years or so. And every time it happens, I do not hurry to replace it unless there is an urgent need like travel. This time there is no urgent need, and I decided to delay the replacement till I really need it, and to take this as an opportunity to ultimately break the lingering habit of looking at social networks. However, by losing the phone, I lost access to my usual apps, like Zero for tracking fast times, and the Oura app for tracking sleep biomarkers from the Oura Ring. And I couldn't see the body composition data as smart scales display only body weight. The rest of data, like muscle mass and body fat percentage, can be seen only in the app. By now, I use AI for a lot of things every day. I have a Perplexity Pro Plan subscription, and that's my main AI tool. A few days ago, I started a new fast. This is an opportune time for me, and my intention is to go 7 full days of water fast. Some of the days could be dry fast. When it comes to fasting and food, I have a very opportunistic approach. I do not force anything. I know that fasting is healing and it is good for me, but I make the journey nice by choosing the time opportunistically. I fast during travels in order to save myself the misfortune of trying to eat in restaurants. It's a struggle to find out if any particular restaurant cooks with seed oils. Most of them do. I don't eat in such restaurants. Instead of going through the trouble of finding out if they use seed oils and being disappointed so often, for me a much better way is to fast when traveling. The same healing effect from fasting and no negativity. Or I choose fasting when there are no social gatherings planned, so I don't have to be the party pooper who does not eat at social events. But in practice, life happens. Like yesterday, I was 40 hours into what was supposed to be a 168-hour fast. My sister invited me to eat lunch she cooked. She knows my paleo diet preferences. She never uses any seed oils. So it was going to be a nice, clean meal, the kind of meal I enjoy immensely. I knew that I'll break the fast, enjoy the meal, and not give it a second thought, and then restart my fast from zero right after. And this is what I did. So what does this have to do with AI and the Zero app? Well, if I had the Zero app available, I would record the quote-unquote failed fast. The Zero app would display a message saying nice try or something like this. After the meal, I would set up a new fast, but I had no Zero app available. I decided to try something new, to use AI to track fasting progress. I set up a new thread on Perplexity AI and bookmarked the thread as fasting. I started with a simple prompt. I indicated the date and time and asked how much time has elapsed since then. That was my fast time completed so far. Later I asked the same, but added a request to indicate the time still to go if I'm on a 168-hour fast. Now I got the already completed time and the time still to go, just like the Zero app used to show me. Then, just for fun, I asked it to add information, one paragraph each, on what is going on in the body metabolically at this particular hour of the fast, how other people feel at this hour of the fast, and give some recommendations specific to this hour. The Zero app gives some such information with their Plus subscription. AI dutifully spat out 3 paragraphs with the requested information. No need for an app anymore. But the best part was yet to come. After I had the meal with my sister, I just wrote a prompt asking to reset the fasting counter. No issue. So over the days, I started to add prompts, and by now I have exactly the information I need. I asked it to record fasts shorter than 16 hours as failed fasts. I asked it to register fasts as completed if the elapsed time is over 16 hours. I asked it to register separately the time spent in a deep fasted state by calculating only that part of the fasting time over 16 hours. Then I prompted it to track weight from body weight data I enter. The current report spits out body weight change since the start of this fasting session in various aspects: total value, average value per day, total and average per day, body weight loss value for the ongoing fast. Every time I want to see an update, I go to the bookmarked thread and type a question mark as the prompt. The computer spits out this highly customized report updated to the minute. That's the best tracking mode I've ever encountered. I'll never go back to any app for tracking fasting progress. Never. Instead, my focus will be improving the prompt. As I said, I'm not a tech person, but I can easily add, remove, and modify the reporting parameters using plain English. It's like having a super efficient and super smart assistant. The title of the podcast says that this podcast is not AI hype, and it is not. It is sharing the observation of unmatched efficiency. I can easily imagine what an informative report this could be turned into if one were to add more data, starting from sleep data recorded by the Oura Ring and body composition data from smart scales, food, environment, etc. That's pretty much a do-it-yourself thing, available to any average person free or at symbolic cost. If you do wish to see the full sample report and receive the prompt I use, please go to our blog at paleokarma.substack.com. Again, that's paleokarma.substack.com. Stepping back a bit, it does not take much imagination how clinical trials can be run by AI, or how AI can resolve the discussion about whether ultra-processed food is or is not harmful to the human body, or any other substance like alcohol, coffee, food additives, or environmental factors like the presence of electromagnetic fields or brake pad dust. And on a less hyped up note for AI, I would comment that by now I understand why AI companies are seeking to have data sources close to energy sources, up to the point of restarting a closed nuclear station, like that one on 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania, just because Microsoft is ready to purchase the energy it may produce. Basically, all data processing is moving to AI, and if privacy was a big issue in connection to social networks and search engines, with AI it is going to be a multitude bigger. I'm sure Perplexity AI over the last months knows more about me than Google or Facebook ever had a chance to know. Thinking about it in terms of censoring, it's scary. Say, if Big Pharma achieves blocking information on ChatGPT the same way as the Chinese Communist Party very successfully blocked inquiries about Xi Jinping or Tiananmen Square on DeepSeek. Or most likely AI will go through the process of what's called enshittification, like it has happened with platforms before. But that's a concern, if any, for another time. Right now, AI works. To me, I estimate it saves me a lot of time by allowing me to do important things 20 to 30 times faster than before, and allowing me to do things which I would not have been able to do otherwise. And I'm sure I'm pretty average in using AI. If I can use it, I presume everybody can and does. All right, that's my journey with AI so far, especially for fasting. Thank you for sticking with me and sharing this journey. Until next time.